Hey, this is B, and I am north of the peace line on Turtle Island, and it's July 1st, 2020. I woke up today, and I was processing a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings, like I think a lot of us have been doing, and I decided that I was going to put them down and share them with you in one of the ways I best know how, and that's a poem. So I'm going to share a poem with you that I wrote this morning. It may be a work in progress, I'm not sure, and I'm just going to kind of let it out there. So this poem is called I've Heard. I've heard about the many nations who have lived and have been living on this land long before me. I've heard about the independent nations who were here before my mom immigrated from Chicago and my dad from Donegal. I've heard about the prosperity that comes from living in harmony with nature and the Creator. I've heard about conflicts and the peace that comes from treaties. I've heard about original settlers and mixed messages about their interactions with those original nations. I've heard about voyageurs and fur trades. I've heard about unfair trades and blankets filled with smallpox. I've heard about Terra Nullis and the Royal Proclamation of 1763. I've heard about Confederation and the Indian Act, residential schools, red papers, white papers, Section 35 of the Canadian Constitution, the standoff at Ganasatake, Grassy Narrows, Wet'suwet'en, the Truth and Reconciliation Report, the report on missing and murdered Indigenous women, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, Idle No More, Black Lives Matter. I've heard dancing in the street, dancing at powwows, celebrations. I've heard people educating, white people unsettling, families commiserating, and still Black and trans and Indigenous women and so many others showing the way, showing up again and again. I've heard so much love despite the pain. And still, while I know so little, I know I want to connect. I want that hope and progress, that spirit to spread. I want to keep listening to hear that beautiful music that lives past the tragedy and pain, that is showing us a way to a happier life and change.